right, guys. Well, as usual, once you get a chance, please go to the classroom for GHS staff. From the classroom page, if you would head over to the About tab and then scroll down, you'll find the section called Google PD Resources. Each month I add a new document there with the resources for that month. You'll find February at the bottom of that list. Once you get there, that will open up our doc for today, and you should be good to go. You were to look at Unit 8 this month. So Unit 8 in Educator Level 1 training deals primarily with spreadsheets. The main focus they had on this was student data. So collecting student data, putting it in a spreadsheet, doing stuff with it, analyzing it, charts and graphs and averages and sorting and stuff like that. So, in preparation for today, I said, okay, so spreadsheets are our topic, possibly student data being a specific portion of it. But what I wanted to do was just sort of list out options for you guys. And so if you scroll down past where it says Unit 8, at the top of the next page, I have two sections, one called Spreadsheets for Teachers and one called Spreadsheets for Student Learning. And basically, I just brainstormed what are some things we could talk about. Now, there's no way we can get through all of this in one session, but it's more of you tell me, what do you want to look at from this? So what could we talk about? We could talk about analyzing student data. That's perfectly fine. If we want to camp out on that, great. If that's the case, I do have a sample Google Sheet with some student data in it. If you've brought your own Google Sheets, fantastic. You could use your own data. But we could talk about lots of stuff there, like freezing rows and columns, splitting names. Sometimes the names come together and you need to break them apart into first and last names so you can sort them. Things like sorting based upon scores and other things. Filtering based upon conditions. All the kids in certain grades or kids that scored above or below this, filtering and just pulling up certain information. Conditional formatting, saying let's use colors to make the data easier to interpret. Anybody who scored below a certain amount, make that red or make it green if it's above a certain amount. Find your at-risk kids more easily with visual cues. Formulas, averaging, min, max, whatever, putting in formulas to the sheet. Trend lines, charts and graphs, any of that. Happy to dig into whatever you would like there. Another thing we could talk about is, for teachers, is creating educational games with spreadsheets. There is an add-on called Flippity, which allows you to take a Google spreadsheet, fill in your own data, and with it, it'll make live, online, interactive flashcards, hangman games, Jeopardy games, bingo sheets that you and your students can then play together as a class. So it's a real fun way to take something as easy as a spreadsheet, fill in your questions and answers and fill in the names and fill in whatever, and boom, it generates these educational online games for you. So that's a cool one. On the other hand, we could completely switch to spreadsheets for students. How could kids use spreadsheets? And there's lots of possibilities, from random writing prompt generators, having them create their own educational games. Doesn't have to be you making the Jeopardy game. The kids can make them too. Pixel art, learning databases, analyzing data, maybe the students doing surveys or measurements or experiments, collecting data, analyzing it as well. So just like you can analyze student data, students can analyze educational data that they've collected from, an experiment or a survey or so forth. Or something totally different. But those are the things I thought of. If you guys want to go a different direction, that's fine as well. For what we don't cover, for what we don't have time for, below there you will see links to all of my blog posts and training videos and sample templates that should pretty much cover everything that's up here. So you can get into these on your own. And then, like we said, next month will be a catch-up month. So anything, questions we don't cover today, we can also dig deeper into next time. So guys, you tell me. Well, how would you like to spend your time today? What do we want to dig into?
Oh, I was going to say that.
Let's make a game. All right. That is perfectly fine. And again, we'll do it together as a group, and then don't forget, your kids can do this too. Okay, so just as easy as it is for you to make these, it's also a great thing for your students too. Okay, so what we're going to do is we'll talk about Flippity. Now, Flippity is not new. It's actually been around for a while, but it used to be you had to go to the Flippity website, find what you wanted, make a copy of a template, and then do some crazy things. You had to switch inside of it and add this and change this and tweak that. It was great, but it was a little bit of a challenge. Well, now they have created what's called an add-on for Google Sheets that brings Flippity right into Google Sheets and makes it so easy. So here's what we need to do. First thing first, we need to go to Google Drive and we need to make a blank Google spreadsheet. So if you're not there, let's go ahead and get there. Just open up a new tab, and from that new tab, go to your drive. I usually go to the waffle button and go over to Google Drive. Once you get to Google Drive, simply go to the new button in the top left and choose Google Sheets from the drop-down. New Google Sheets, and boom, there you will have a nice blank Google Sheet. All right. Now, once you get into Google Sheets, you'll notice in the top menu bar, I'm going to zoom in a little bit so it's a little easier to see here, there is an add-ons menu up there. And if you click on that, you'll get this drop down, and if you have any add-ons installed, they'll show up. If not, no big deal. You can install them. Now, I installed Flippity last session, so I'm going to remove it so I can put it back in with you guys. So I'm going to go to Manage Add-ons, and I'm going to get rid of it real quick, and then we can just put it back in. That way, we won't skip that step. So here's the idea. Add-ons are basically third-party tools. Somebody else developed these. They're not from Google, but they're free, and they work with Google tools, and they give you new features that you don't normally have in your program. So there are add-ons for Sheets, there are add-ons for Docs, and there are add-ons for Forms. At the moment, those are the 3 tools that have add-ons. In Google Sheets, if you guys would, click on Add-ons, and then from the drop-down menu, you want to click Get Add-ons. And what that will do is open up the add-on store where you can just scroll through and find all kinds of awesome add-ons. And there are hundreds of these. I use a lot of these. A lot of people are familiar with Flubaroo. That's like for grading quizzes if you want some fancier features than normal. I use Autocrat. Autocrat is a mail merge add-on. That's what I use to generate all of the certificates of attendance for the webinars I do, things like that. Lots and lots and lots of great add-ons. We can spend quite a lot of time on those. The one we're looking for, though, we are looking for one called Flippity, F-L-I-P-P-I-T-Y. You can either scroll forever to try to find it, which may take a while since there's so many, or you can just run a search. Up here in the top, if you just type in Flippity with 2 P's, Flippity, run a search, you should find it pretty quickly. Now, once you find the Flippity add-on, you'll see there's a plus free button to install it. This is a one-time thing. You never have to install it again. When you install it, it's installing it to your account. So if you go to a different computer, go wherever, you open up a spreadsheet, Flippity is waiting for you. It's always going to be there. So go ahead, click the plus free button. It'll pop up a little window asking for permission. You have to scroll down, 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 find the allow button. Click on allow. And that's it. It'll take just a few seconds. It's really quick. And that's it. It's installed. So now, anytime you want to use Flippity, you would go to Add-ons, and Flippity will be waiting for you right there. And all you have to do is click Pick a Template, and it will launch the Flippity add-on for you. All right. So let's try that out. So go to Add-ons, go to Flippity, choose Pick Template. And when you do that, it's going to pop open this screen where there are 11 different templates at the moment. They're adding new ones all the time. They just added the bingo one. That's the most recent one. They added that like a month ago. So here's the idea. What you're going to get is this carousel of templates. There's Flippity flashcards, quiz show, bingo, hangman, spelling words, random name picker, mix and match, badge tracker, progress indicator, Mad Lib, certificate quiz, and background to flashcards. For each one of these, you will notice at the bottom there's two links. There's a demo and a use link. The demo basically just lets you try it out and see what it looks like. The use link will copy that template into your Google Sheet so you can customize it, put in your terms and your names and your answers instead of what they have. So if you want to try these out, just start scrolling through there and just hit the demo link and check out a few of them. So like, for example, the flashcards, if I hit demo, it'll open that up in a new tab, and this is basically what the flashcards thing will do. It will take and put on the front of a card whatever you put for the front. If you use the little flip button here, it'll give you the back of the card, and then you can use the arrows to move forwards and backwards. It also will speak this. There's a little speech button here. It's probably too quiet for you to hear. Let me try this again.
1492. The largest animal on Earth.
And so you can turn the speech on or off. And it doesn't also have to be just text. You can also put pictures in there, videos, things like that. Okay, so you can build a flashcard game. And then there's other ways to play. There's list, practice, matching, word cloud, and so forth. So there's other things you can do besides just flashcards with it. If you want to try other ones like the game show, if you hit the demo for the Flippity Game Quiz Show, it's a Jeopardy show basically. You can come down here and add or subtract teams depending upon how many teams you need. And if you've gone into the template and put in your own categories and questions, then as people click on these, it brings up the question, then brings up the answer, then you give the points to the team that got it right, for example. And that's how that one works. There are lots of really neat ones. The bingo one is brand new. You can use it to either print out bingo cards, or it'll give you a link, and anybody who clicks the link, it'll generate a virtual randomized bingo card that they can click on to fill in as they get the bingo. So they can play bingo right there on their Chromebooks, right on their devices. Okay, so let's go ahead, pick any one of these. Oh, the random name picker, that was one they really liked last session too. This one allows you to fill in your names, and then it'll either give you a random name, just pulls up a random name at a time, or you can say, put all my kids in groups of 2, groups of 3, groups of 4, groups of 5, or I need 2 teams, 3 teams, 4 teams, 5 teams, and it randomizes those. Then you hit the little random button, and it just keeps randomizing the kids. So if you want to just make some random groups, that's a great one for that. So go ahead and choose any one you guys would like, and I'll just do the quiz show as no, I'll do the flashcards as an example, but you guys pick any one you want there. And all you have to do is come down here and click the use link, and when you click that, it'll now build the template. So pick the Jeopardy game, pick the quiz, pick Hangman, pick whatever one you want. And when you click use, it now takes that and it builds inside of your Google Sheet a template. It also gives you a unique link. This link is what you're going to use to get to the live version of your quiz show, your flashcards, your Hangman game. You don't have to remember it. You can always get back to the link through the menu. We can bring it back up. I'm just going to hit close, and there we go. There's my Google Sheet with all of the demo stuff filled in, and you see I can basically come in here and change the front of the card. I did the flashcards. Yours will look different if you chose something else, but I can put the front, what's on the front of the card, what's on the back of the card. If I want a video, I just put in the YouTube link instead. If I want an image, I just put in the link out to the picture, run a Google image search, find the image, copy the web address of the picture, put that in. And then over here I can change the color of the card and the color of the text as well, if I want to. So basically I would go through and I would fill in my own stuff. So if I were to change this first one and say the original name for Google Docs? And the answer is Rightly. That's what it used to be before it became Google Docs. And so I could change these, and when I'm all done building mine, or if the students, again, this could be a student activity, this could be something where they are showing their knowledge by building these. When I'm all done, all I do is go back up to add-ons, go to Flippity, and you'll see right here it says Flippity URL. That's the link we need to play the game. So whatever game you build there, go back up to add-ons, go to Flippity, choose the URL. It'll give you that crazy link. Now that link you could put in Google Classroom. Copy the link, go to Classroom, post it as an announcement, put it out to all the kids. If you really need them to type it in, if you click Show Short URL, it'll make a short goo.gl version of it, and then they could just type that in if that's easier, whatever method you prefer to go about doing it. Either way is fine. But now when I go and follow the link, there it is. There's my flashcard ready to go, the original name of Google Docs, and Rightly. All right. Any questions about that? What do you guys think? Yeah. We were talking earlier today about how even doing this just for a change is really nice, because the first period of the day people were talking about, yeah, love Kahoot, that's really awesome, but we use it so much, and the importance of just shaking things up and doing something different. That novelty can really go a long way towards student engagement. So here's a bunch of other game options for you. Yeah.
And the nice thing, since this is a spreadsheet, you could share that sheet with your whole class. And then as a class, they could build the flashcards themselves, and then you post a link on Google Classroom to study for whatever it is, like a test or quiz.
Very good for collaboration. You're absolutely right. It's just a spreadsheet. Yep. Anybody who has access to it could help work on it. Or if the kids build their own, they just have to give you the link. As long as you get the link from it, you can collect those links together, put them in a doc, put them on your About page, put them in a spreadsheet so people can click on the links and launch all the different games the kids have made for review. All right. So that's how Flippity works. What else would you guys like to chat about? Anything else on that? Or pick a different spreadsheet topic. What else are you interested in? I was told this group has some spreadsheet skills, right? Is this our resident expert?
Who told you that?
Cindy.
Oh. I'm kind of a sheets nerd.
Oh, I love it. Do not apologize for that. You say that proudly. That's right. So, what would you guys like to chat about? Do you want to take a look at analyzing student data, something else in the list here, other things about spreadsheets that you guys care about, or a use case scenario, something you would like to be able to accomplish with spreadsheets? If not, I'll just go into the analyzing of the student data. I mean, that's the main topic of this month.
That sounds good to me.
Okay.
Can we take the data from Progress Book and put it into a sheet and then upload it into something?
Yeah. Now, I don't use Progress Book anymore. I've not been at the district level for a while, and when I was, it was Pinnacle. And I've seen it, Progress Book, like that much, So, but my understanding is, yes, there's an export feature in there. So, do you guys know, when you're in Progress Book and you run an export, do you know what format it comes out in? Is it a CSV? Is that correct? Okay. All right. So here's the idea. If you're in Progress Book and you open up your grade book, right, and you go to export, I'm not sure what that looks like in Progress Book, but you should be able to, yes, export your data. What's going to happen is when that data comes out as a CSV, what you would want to do is take that file and drop it into your Google Drive. Okay? Now I did that earlier with just this demo spreadsheet. This is not actual grades or anything. I just wanted to show that this actually works. So here in my drive, you'll see I have this file called enrollment.csv. It's just a file from some online course thing I was putting together, okay? So if you spit out data from Progress Book as a CSV, and if you drag and drop it onto your drive, or you go new, upload, and you do a file upload and you upload it to your drive, here's the thing. If it's a CSV, if you double click on it, at first, all that's going to happen is you're just going to get a preview of it. Okay, so if I first double click on it, it's just going to say, hey, here's your data. If you actually want to do something with it, you would then go up to the top where it says Open with Google Sheets. It'll take that CSV and it will go ahead and turn it into a Google Sheet. And now, everything that we're going to talk about, you'd be able to do to that data. So, that would be the route you would go. All right, well, let's just play with a little bit of student data while we have a little bit of time here. So here's what I would ask you guys to do. If you've got your own data, please feel free to use your own data. You do not need to use my sample data. I don't have any real kids, so I just made up some fake data here. So if you take a look in our agenda for today, right where it says Spreadsheets for Teachers, where it says Analyzing Student Data, right next to there is a link that says Sample Google Sheet. If you want to use my fake data, click on that and you will get a copy. It'll ask you to make a copy and you will get this spreadsheet with, I'm going to zoom in so you can see it a little bit better. You get a spreadsheet here with a bunch of fake data. So we've got student name, grade level, student ID, and then 5 scores, test scores, quiz scores, whatever, okay? And so if you want to use that one, just click the link there for sample Google Sheet, and you'll be good to go. Or feel free to open up your own. Now, once you have a whole bunch of student data, there's so many things you can do with it. One thing I'm going to for sure cover with you, and then after that, you guys, I'm going to ask you to tell me what you want to cover. I would like to talk for sure about this very first one, freezing rows and columns. Because no matter where the data comes from, chances are it's going to be a lot of data, and it's probably going to scroll off the bottom of the page or off to the side. And one of the things that can be a struggle when you're working with data is not losing track of what's what. So for example, if I were to take this sample data and scroll down, as soon as I start scrolling down, notice how the top has name, grade level, student ID score. As soon as I scroll down, that goes off the screen. And so I could get down and go, oh shoot, I don't even remember. What was column F again? Which one do I need? And I can't tell what the data is. If I had a whole lot of data, the same thing could be true if I'm scrolling to the right. As I go to the right, I'm like, wait a second, who's number 7? I don't remember who this kid is anymore. And I can lose that information. So a great skill to have in a spreadsheet is freezing your rows and your columns so they don't move. Well, certain ones don't move. Here's how that works. If you go up to the View menu in the top toolbar, you will see Freeze as one of the very first options. You can freeze 1, 2 more rows, 1, 2, or more columns. Let's say I want to freeze the top row. I don't want those words to move when I scroll. Sure, click Freeze, 1 row, and now notice this big thick gray line has appeared under that first row. Watch what happens when I scroll down now. Now when I scroll down, the top row doesn't move, everything else does, and I don't ever lose track of what I'm looking at. Same thing is true if I don't want the kids' names to move. I could go View, Freeze, 1 column. Now there's a thick gray line next to the column. So if I scroll down, that's great, but now if I scroll to the right, that's still great. I don't lose the kids. Their names stay in that first column. So freezing rows and columns just makes it so much easier not to lose track of stuff. If you don't like to use the menu, you can also just use your mouse. Notice if I put my mouse on top of the thick gray line, it changes into the icon of a hand. I can click and grab the thick gray line to move it up or drag it down. Whoops, if I click on the right place, Eric, drag it down. Try that again. There we go. And so you can move that freeze bar just with the mouse as well if you prefer. So no matter what we do, I always want to start with that, just because when you open up a CSV, it's not going to have stuff frozen. That's going to make your life a lot easier when you go to do other stuff in there. So here's my question, guys. What would you like to do with this data? We've got all this data here. Do you want to do conditional formatting where we color things in based upon scores? Do you want to sort? Do you want to filter to show just certain data? Do you want to split the names? Do you want to create averages, trend lines, charts, graphs, something different? What would you guys like to do with the data? What sounds valuable to you?
Find all the scores under 60.
Okay, wonderful. So let's say we want to find students who scored below something on a certain, test. Now, there's two ways to go about doing this. Well, no, there's more than that. I can think of at least three, right? There's probably 5 more, but I'm already thinking of 3. So there's sorting and there's filtering. Let's do both, just so we see the difference, why one versus the other, okay? So let's say we are interested in the most recent test the kids took. So right here, score number 5. And I want to find all the kids who scored poorly on that, and I'm saying it's below a 60, it's below a 70, it's below something, okay? Whatever that might be. Option 1, very simple. Just sort the data. Bring the lowest scores to the top and see what they are. So, how do you do sorting? Well, here's the idea with sorting, folks. All you have to do in a Google Sheet to sort is click somewhere inside of the column you want to sort by. Okay? Just click on one cell. Doesn't matter which cell. Anywhere at all, somewhere inside of that column. After you've clicked inside of the column, go up to Data in the top toolbar, and you will see the very first option is to sort the entire sheet by that column, A to Z or Z to A. So I could say, let's do that. Let's sort the whole entire sheet by column H, A to Z, low to high, or high to low, whichever way you want. I'll do A to Z. Click that, and boom. As quickly as that, now everything's been rearranged, so all the kids are rearranged with the lowest scores at the top, the highest scores at the bottom. So if I just quickly wanted to see everybody who was below a 70, there they are. There's the 5 kids I need to be worried about. I now know who to chat with, okay? So that's one option. Another option, I'll undo that so we mix them all up again. Another option, instead of sorting, is what's called filtering. Now with filtering, what it does is it hides everything in the spreadsheet that doesn't match a certain criteria you have set. Okay, to use filtering, you want to start by first turning it on. So what you do is you go to the Data menu at the top, and you'll see there's a filter option partway down. Looks like a little funnel there. Go ahead and click on Data, and then click on Filter. When you click on Filter, what's going to happen is suddenly your whole sheet changes, and you get these little down arrows at the top of each column. Every column gets one. Now, what these little down arrows are your filtering tools. And you can use those to say, hide everything except the stuff I care about. So let's say we start with grade level as an example. If I clicked on the little down arrow next to grade level, it would say, okay, Eric, at the moment, you have 9, 10, 11, and 12 as possible options there for the grade level. Well, what I could do is I could say, I just want to see my 10th graders. So I'm going to uncheck 9, uncheck 11, uncheck 12. I'm only leaving 10 checked. When I hit OK, everything else temporarily disappears. Nothing's been deleted. It's all safely there, but it only shows me my 10th graders. Now, if I go back up to the filter, I can reselect everybody else, hit OK, and everybody's back. No one's been lost. So let's say we want to do that for a grade. You were saying find all the kids, below a certain point value. Absolutely. So if I go up to score number 5 and say I want to find all the kids who really struggled on this test, if I hit that little filter button, yeah, I could actually uncheck all the ones that are above 1, but that's going to take a while. I'm going to be clicking all the way down through this? Well, there's two ways to filter. That's filtering by what's called values. Notice there's also filter by condition. Instead of selecting the values, if I click filter by condition, I can now specify a rule to do the filtering. So where it says none, I can say, okay, show me all of the cells that are empty or not empty, that have certain text, that have a certain date. Here we go. Greater than, less than, equal to, that's what I'm looking for. So how about any cell that has a value that is less than or equal to something? If I choose that, I could say, I don't know, let's say 70 is my cutoff. Anybody who got below a 70, I'm worried about. So if I go ahead and do that, I might have to fold up the value so I can actually see my OK button at the bottom. If you can't see that, you might have to fold that up. So filter by condition, less than or equal to 70, OK. And now I'm only seeing the kids who scored less than or equal to 70. You can stack filters if you want. So I could take that exact same idea, go to the next column, and do it again and say, let's do the same thing over here. Say anybody who scored less than or equal to 70. And now it's combining those two filters together. And I'm getting anybody who on the last two tests has been below that. And so you can stack filters if you would like. When you're all done using the filters, again, you can either click the filter itself, come back up to the condition and remove it. Just say no condition and it will remove it. Or if you're just completely done with the filter, go up to data and simply use turn off filter and it will just turn them all off, take you back to normal, and you can always start over again if you want. So from the data menu, just say turn off filter, boom, everything's normal, no filters now. Okay? If you find that you use filters a lot, there is an option in here right underneath filter that's called filter views, where you can actually create and save a filter that you can just bring back up anytime you need to use as well. Let me show you a third option. So you were saying finding kids that scored below a certain amount. So sorting works, filtering works. Let's do one more. Let's do conditional formatting. This is where it's going to color in everybody who got below a certain amount. Okay? So the way conditional formatting works is you have to start by highlighting, selecting the stuff you want to apply it to. Okay? So if I want to apply conditional formatting to all of these scores, I need to highlight them first. Now I can do that by either clicking on the first one, dragging all the way down to the last. That's fine. If you just want to do that, that's no problem at all. If you prefer just to grab the entire columns, if I click and hold down my mouse, I could highlight D, E, F, G, and H, the whole columns. It really doesn't matter. The point is, whatever you prefer, you need to select all of the scores because we're going to apply conditional formatting to it. I'm just going to grab all the columns, but again, that's up to you. I'm just clicking on D and dragging across and grabbing all of the columns. Once you've got your scores selected, you're now going to go up to Format, and from the Format menu, near the bottom, you will see something called Conditional Formatting. Go ahead and give a click on Conditional Formatting. That is now going to pop open this panel on the side where basically you create a rule and then you say what happens when that rule is met. Very much like filtering, but now with the kicker that you get to do something based on it. So, what am I going to do? Format cells if. Well, right now it's just saying formatted if it's not empty. Well, that's not what we're looking for. Look at this. Very similar. Text, date. Here we go. Less than or equal to. So let's choose less than or equal to. And again, we'll say anybody who has scored a 70 or below. So, format cells if the content is less than or equal to 70. And then how do you want to format it? Do you want to use some built-in styles like let's make it red? You could do that. Or you could build your own style. fill it in with this color, make it bold, change the text color. It's up to you. I'll just go with my default styles and say just make it a red background. And now, as long as I hit done on that, it now saves that conditional formatting. I can close out of that little panel on the side. And now as I look down through my list, anytime there's a score that is below 70 or below, it's highlighting that in red. So if I came in and even changed one of these and said, this 76 here, that actually was a 66, I typed it in wrong. As soon as I type 66 and press enter, it turns red. So it'll conditionally format that. You can do multiples. You can have yellow for things in this range, green for things in this range. You can keep adding as many rules as you want. You could apply it to the entire spreadsheet. I didn't have to stop at H. I could have applied it all the way across. And as I add new scores, they inherit those conditional formats as well. So as I add a new set of scores in, boom, they get color-coded for me. So this could just be another way to add a visual element to your data to help it jump out at you. You can even get so fancy as to do multicolors where it does like a gradient from one color to another. So, the more red it is, that's one thing, and the more blue it is, that's the other end of the spectrum. It even has a gradient option if you want. Any questions on that? So those would be at least 3 ways to find struggling student scores. All right, we have 2 minutes. Anything else I can fit in 2 minutes? You have a quick question? Anything real quick? Have you ever calculated averages in a spreadsheet? It's real easy to do. All you have to do is know one key thing, and that is the equal sign. If you press the equal sign in a spreadsheet, it tells the spreadsheet you're putting in a function, not a number or a word. So if I say equals, and I start typing in a function, well, average, it's probably the function average. Start typing in the word average, and it says, oh, do you mean one of these? Yeah, I mean this one right here, average. Okay, Eric, all I need is for you to give me the values you want me to average. I can either type in the cells, but why do that? Just use your mouse to click, hold down, and drag across the things you want to average. It'll fill in the formula for you. Press enter, boom, the average is done, 74.4. So it created that formula by me simply knowing to press the equal sign, start typing in the word average, select the formula, and just drag over the cells I wanted to average. The beauty is, folks, I don't have to do this again and again and again. Notice, I'll zoom in so you can see it, notice how when I click on that particular cell, notice how there's a little blue square in the bottom corner. That allows me to click, hold down, and drag the formula down. It will update that formula for each row appropriately and calculate the average for me. So if you do it once, you simply drag it down, and as simple as that, you now have every single average down through there. There are loads of functions built into Sheets, and in your handout for today, you will see right there's a link to the hundreds of functions that are available. All right, have fun with it. Thanks, guys.